tasty. Good evening to you. It is Friday, February 28th at 10:25 p.m. As you can hear, my vocal cords are continuing to heal somewhat slowly, but it's happening. Hopefully I'll get in a groove here in a minute, just as Purdue did tonight. Your Boilermakers improved to 20-9 as they beat UCLA tonight in Mackey Arena. Did I say the time? Friday, February 28th at 10:26 p.m. I don't know. I'm way off my rhythm. Hope you're doing well. Fun game tonight. Purdue needed that. Needed it for a lot of reasons, but if everything goes according to plan, according to the optimist plan where Purdue gets back into their groove, or Stella finds their groove, the Boilermakers find their groove, it's going to take a couple games of just kind of getting their feet under them, and they showed some fight tonight. That was a big deal. It's a big deal. I'm going to talk all about it, but first, before I do it, let me thank our friends at Home Field Apparel. Head over to homefieldapparel.com, enter Boiled 25 at checkout for 15% off. They got some pretty cool stuff right now. Jay's a big NASCAR guy, and they've got some NASCAR jackets you might want to check out. But also, they've got a lot of cool Purdue stuff. The ringside collection's cool. The classic sweaters, platinum packs. Take your pick. Can't miss. And also, when you're at Mackey Arena and Purdue has just dug themselves out of a 4-game hole and you're happy, you're going to skip towards the fire station. And when you get to the fire station, turn left. You're going to see the blue lights of AJ's. Go inside. Order a pint, especially on a game day weekend or game day evening. You'll get your pint with a Purdue or with a boiled sports magnet at the bottom. It's pretty cool. But then you're going to have the nicest people help you. You get some mac and cheese bites, get a pretzel appetizer. Try one of their signature sauces on some wings. Get some beef, burgers, beef, beer. That's AJ's by the fire station. EatAJ's.com. Okay, so yeah. Let me address something, which is a couple of people said I was too critical after the IU loss. I'm not going to apologize for my post game. I'll tell you why I'm not going to apologize. I didn't go personal with those guys. I think as Purdue fans, we expect more out of the team. It's not just about winning and losing. It's how you win and lose. Think about the things that define Purdue basketball teams, define Painter coach teams, define teams that Braden Smith, Trey Kaufman-Renn, and Fletch Lawyer have been on, and the way they played during that losing streak. It was collapse after collapse after collapse, and it was defensive collapses. Well, tonight, you saw something different. You saw the team fighting and scratching and clawing. Even when things didn't go great and they had problems with defensive matchups, they kept fighting. At the 3-minute mark in the first half, Purdue lost the lead, right? They went from a 10-point lead. I think they were up, I believe, 29-19, and UCLA fought all the way back. And I joked to the BS guys on a thread that at least they didn't wait till the second half to give up the big lead. But they showed that they weren't gonna roll over. At least that was a big thing. Second half, you saw some very, very good things, some somewhat new things, some things that we all hoped for. One of the big ones was Cam Heide cleaning the glass. Cam Heide's rebounds were huge. It's something. It shows up in the box score, I'm sure, but he was so timely with the rebounds because he was fighting for them. Also, we got to see Miles Colvin knock down a couple shots in the first half, a big 3, and then a dribble drive, which was pretty awesome. And we got to see Braden Smith get back into rhythm. You could see it as he got his confidence back at about midpoint. No, about 8 or 9 minutes in the second half. And then again, he had another 3 and another 3. Braden Smith was starting to percolate and become Braden Smith again. Look like Braden Smith again. That was great to see. It was really great to see. There it is. There's the voice. Wow, what a huge difference. But we also saw TKR nearly get his career high, I believe. I don't think he got it. His career high was 30 points versus Wisconsin not long ago in Mackey Arena. And we saw Fletch Lawyer knock down a couple timely threes. But Fletch continues to not look for his three, and it's frustrating. I don't know if I can remember a Purdue shooter that's as good as him that doesn't look for a shot. And there's shades of Ryan Smith right now when Ryan Smith was big on the pump fake. But Fletch is a better shooter than Smith. Smith was a good shooter. Fletch is a better shooter. And him not looking for his three and looking to drive first is such an unusual thing, especially when he gets a little bit of space. A little bit of space should be enough for a guy like that. But one thing that frustrated me a little bit, and I know the coaches saw it because they're smarter than me, the way Purdue was scheming, Mick Cronin was counterpunching, and Purdue would get left after a switch with a guard on one of UCLA's bigs. It happened time and time again. And UCLA made Purdue pay a couple times. But the frustrating thing to me about it is not what the players are doing. It's that the coaches didn't figure it out and adjust. That's got to be worked out because a good coach, Cronin's a good coach. UCLA does a lot of movement to put teams in awkward position. But yeah, they got to figure that out. And just like the losing streak for the players, the coaches have to get their confidence back too. They got to find it. They got to find it. I think they will. And I think that team's still not playing as good as it can. We obviously saw stretches tonight where you're like, man, but they're fighting. I think that's the big thing. If they can stay connected on defense and just fight for a full 40 minutes, some really good things are going to happen. Let's look at the box score together. Let me take a sip here. Look at the box score. Final score, 76-66. Purdue wins. Purdue is 20th in America. UCLA is 25th on according to the net, but their record coming in was better than Purdue's. They were 20-9. Both teams leave with a 20-9 record, and Purdue has a 12-6 record in conference. But how did it happen? Like I said, TKR finishes with 29 points. Played really well. Also shot the free throw pretty well in streaks. He was deadly. It's good to see. 70% from the line, though, 7 for 10. Always good there. Still not rebounding, I think, the way Purdue needs him to rebound. Only 3 boards, but had 3 steals. That's big stuff. On top of that, Braden Smith played really well, 23 points, 6-10 for deep. And you could tell at the end of the game, he was feeling it. Really, really good to see. He also had 8 assists to go along with that. Had a couple early turnovers in the first half that looked like they could be bad signs. But the beginning of the game was super sloppy for both sides. Purdue turned UCLA over a bunch of times, which was very good to see. It's good to see that Purdue was actually awake on defense and fighting and getting in the passing lane. Braden Smith had a couple huge steals down the stretch of this game. Really heady stuff where just crafty, where he would come underneath a big man who was kind of working in the post and didn't account for him. Smith would come in, knock the ball away. So Smith played great on defense. Let's see. He had 4 steals. And that's not surprising at all, that number. On top of him, like I said, Fletch Lawyer finishes with 11 points. He goes 3 of 5 from deep. I would like to see him shooting, 6 to 8 threes at least, just because when he gets into rhythm, he's so deadly, and we just haven't seen it in a while. CJ Cox only finishes with 5 points, but he also had, 1 steal, 2 assists. CJ Cox and Jakari Harris, when they were in the game together in the first half, the game changed completely. They played with a different pace, a different energy. Extremely, extremely important to the team in the first half. And for some reason, Payton pulled the plug on that. I did not understand the rhythm of those substitutions. I really liked what I saw of Jakari Harris. He only had an assist and a rebound tonight. No points. But I love the pace he was playing with. Like I said, Miles Colvin has 5 points and nothing else. But again, played with good energy, played with good pace. Cam Heide, huge day on the glass. 9 rebounds, also had an assist. And It's not a crazy box score number, 3 points and 9 boards, but a very important one for Purdue tonight. Let me see. You guys, a lot of you guys are on here tonight. Hold on a second. And I'm still laboring through this voice thing. I clearly have damage to my vocal cords. But it's getting better incrementally. Even if it sounds like dog meat, which I apologize if it does, which I'm sure it does. It is getting a little bit better. Right here, Frail Hammers is first. Ted Berkey says, finally, way to rebound. Let's see. Let's look at the whole, how did they do as a team? UCLA out-rebounded Purdue, and the reason was on offense, UCLA extended possessions. They had a couple, especially in that run in the first half, where they had 4 boards. 4 boards on one possession. One of them specifically, I think, in the second half, they had 3 or 4 boards that ended with a 3. They made Purdue pay when Purdue couldn't go and fight and get the ball. That type of stuff's got to get worked out, and it comes down to want to, in my opinion. I think they just got to fight more. Also, Trey Kaufman-Renn, he gets away with some offensive fouls, it looks like to me, when he's in the blocks. Instead of leading with his shoulder, he'll throw that bow out there, and he's such a big guy. He got called 1 time on it, but he could have gotten called 2 or 3 times on that offensive foul. Let's see, he had 3 fouls, and he could have had more. C.J. Cox had 4 fouls. Purdue turned the ball over 9 times, so that's great to see. Shot 3 really well, 50% from deep, and free throw shooting, not great, 68.8%. But still, not getting to the line, I think, at the pace that they want to get to. But still, they did the little things today, and that was good to see. All right, back to you guys. Jarvisda says, winning plays in winning time. Absolutely. That last 7 minutes was really, really good for Purdue in closing that thing out. My buddy Ron Gables here says, great finish. IC says, a great win. You could tell they weren't going to let this one slip away. Yeah, I think every Purdue fan, I think most Purdue fans had a little bit of doubt in the back of their head about the 10-minute mark. But Purdue played well. They fought like hell. Ben Carnahan said, not first. No, you're close, though. IC says, oh, I already got that one. JP Boiler says, your voice gets better, so does Purdue. Yeah, hopefully, by the time the first weekend rolls around, I don't think I'd count on anything from me in, a week and a half for the Big Ten tournament. But hopefully by the time the dance rolls around, I'll be consistently audible. I mean, it comes and goes during the day still. It's ridiculous. And if all you doctors out there can tell me what's going on. But my wife, who's a nurse, is throwing some theories at the wall. She still thinks it was viral laryngitis, and it's just kind of ran its course because I damaged my vocal cords in the process of having everything while I cleared my throat. But let me clear my throat. Karen Grulock says, great win, Cam rebounds. Thad Grubaugh says, my favorite part of winning, post-game of Boiled Sports. Thank you. Appreciate it, Thaddeus. And you can get ready for bed. It's 10:36. It's an early night for you, but tomorrow, early bird gets the worm on Saturday. You can enjoy the whole day. I like these Friday games a lot. I don't know about you guys, especially when Purdue wins. When they win on Friday, it's like Saturday, you can do whatever you want. You can enjoy basketball. You can go out and if you got plans or something, you don't have to worry about getting back to the TV, because I always feel like I need to be in front of the TV. It's weird. But I love the Friday night win. Feels nice. Jeff Nestor says, way to go, Boilers. Way to show toughness and grit against a good UCLA team. UCLA is good. They are solid. 25th in the net, to me, is a little deceiving. I think they're better than that. And they are a really even team. A lot of guys on that team can score. A lot of weapons, can come from a lot of directions. A lot of different skill sets, too. And they've got guys that come off the bench that do different things. They got that Mara as a shot blocker. They got bruisers underneath. They got skilled guys up top. They're a good team. They're a good team, and that was a good win. Very, very good one. Purdue needed it. Nate Dolan says, no pink shoes for Braden. That's a good point. He says that's why they won. That's what Rob Blackman said on Varsity App. If you're like me and you can't handle what's his name and Jimmy Jackson, Varsity App absolutely saved me tonight. So, yeah, love the Varsity App. Dang 223434 says, "Damn brother, you went from Woody to RFK Jr." Yeah, this is this RFK impersonation is killer too. I am spot on, really good at it. Daniel Pritchett says, "Was at the game, excellent. Sorry for not going hard enough. Yeah, I blame you. My voice is only slightly coarse, and you're only slightly sweaty, man. I always leave Mackie sweaty, but I'm a guy who likes to sweat." Evansville Boiler says, "Purdue not finishing the half again, but came out in the second half." You know, they finished the halves the last 4 games. If you think back, I believe, in fact, I think they finished really strong. I know they did last game versus IU, but I think they finished strong. They had a strong ending of the first half versus Michigan. Michigan State, I know they fell apart in the second half. It doesn't matter. They all blend together. But good to see them fight through that kind of tough period in the second half. That 7-minute mark was huge. They really hit the gas. So yeah, very, very good. Jeff Nestor says Braden Smith brings good juju, cleaned up the Amish beard. Yeah, it wasn't as full on the sides. Wasn't as full. I think there's a lot of guys. You see TKR growing his hair out a little bit now. It's not going to get back to last year, obviously. A lot of guys are trying to figure out what superstition is the thing that pulls the trigger, the thing that makes it all right? Changing your shoes, different haircut, that sort of thing, different pregame ritual, whatever. And you probably heard TKR called a team meeting earlier in the week. Purdue had a long break, obviously, before this game. And TKR and Smith said they had a great practice after that. And the thing that I wonder about is why it took them so long to call that team meeting. I mean, they knew something wasn't right. These guys, they know it better than you and I. And me getting wound up and being upset after the IU game, that's one thing. I know these guys hate to lose. Like I said, that's one thing about this team. Generally, they fight, right? That IU game in the second half, I'm not going to say they rolled over, but it was close. I mean, that was a bad effort for them. And so this is great to see. The pulse is great to see. Yo says Heidi needs to own the Dennis Rodman label. Yeah, that'd be great. And there's a guy that wouldn't have to go through major hair difference because he's got kind of a nice head of hair. So getting the Rodman spotty bleach garbage, I'll sign off if I need to. If that makes him get 9 or 10 boards a game, I'm in. Derek Mulligan says, how long until you start talking about vaccines? Oh yeah, it's very funny. I'm not going to do it. I promise. That's not my bit here. But yeah, I sound like I could go that way. Big Time Boiler, Grant says, Heidi with some absolute monster boards. That was huge. And sorry I didn't get your DM until later. I think I missed you by an hour and a half. But I don't hang on Twitter a lot during the off time. So see if I'm trying to find a spot with my voice. I'm literally messing around with my tone to try to find a spot where it sounds good consistently. Maybe this will work. Who knows? Let's see. Yo says we can put it into the pump fakes, man. Yeah, the guys just got to have more confidence. That's all there is to it, right? I mean, and you can see it. They started hitting their stride a little bit, but the fact they just weren't looking for threes at all for multiple games in a row, and now they are again. Especially at Mackey, they should have a little hop in their step. Next game, Rutgers. It's a tough team, a lot of athleticism, a lot of talent. Not a great record. They put Michigan on the ropes the other night. They had them, and Michigan wins another game by less than 4 points, like they do every game. That team is playing with fire. I do not think that's a team of destiny for the record. I think it's one that's just messing around. And but Rutgers, that's every Purdue fan, and surely Purdue's big three ought to have their big boy pants on ready for that game because Rutgers has a knack against Purdue. Matt Keller says, Fear the Beard. Jerry Huff says, Heidi definitely stepped up in the second half. He was awesome. Jack Leonard, 22, my pal Jay says, feel like Cronin wants to look like a mobster, but he looks to me like he's a mobster's lawyer. He's a little guy. I know he's not my height, but his head looks huge. And so he goes down a couple points. I don't think my head looks that disproportionate, probably because I'm not as slight as him or as thin as him, however you want to say it. I want to spin it. But if he was going to be like the short guy, the enforcer mobster, he's got to get some bulk there. He doesn't pull that off. I agree, though, Jay. Matt Keller says Lawyer needs to shoot 10 threes a game. Yeah, I agree. Let's get it up to at least to 8. And Matt Keller says Colvin needs to start. Problem is it's clear that Paint is not going to mess around with the lineup right now. Maybe, he did this early in the season where he waited until they won and then he switched it. I don't know. I like Colvin's energy a lot right now. Good to see him looking for a shot. Good to see him dribbling and driving. That's good. But he got his doors blown off on a drive today, which is pretty weird because I think he's been pretty solid on defense. But in the first half, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you're going to see that for the remainder of the season, to tell you the truth. Derek Mulligan says, need first to get back to his form a month ago. No kidding. Seems frustrated with fouls, rightfully so. He gets whistled a lot, and a lot of them are legit, if we're being real honest. But Purdue's had a problem in the last month with foul trouble, and it's been TKR and first generally. But today you had Cox get, what, did he get 2 or 3 fouls in like 30 seconds in the second half? That was wild. And I'm glad he didn't get the plug pulled at that point. But anyway, Braden Band says, how do we feel about Lawyer coming off the bench next year, a la Mason Gillis? I wouldn't feel bad about it at all. But you've got to have the lineup and the chemistry that makes it make sense. So replace him with an athletic wing from the portal who can defend while adding a ton of offensive firepower to the bench. Purdue is definitely going to be active in the portal this offseason. I mean, I don't think there's any way to avoid it. The question about the portal, and I think Purdue's going to probably end up getting 2 to 3 guys out of the portal. I think it could be 4, but I think it'll be at least 3 guys. If I were a betting man, you have to have the right fit, especially if you're going to mess around with the starting lineup. And I know you can say, look at those last 4 games. That's the worst case scenario. True. But when this team's playing pretty well, they're pretty good too. And you've had a pretty good chemistry with Fletch, TKR, and Smith, especially Fletch and Smith. So to mess up that, you got to have something pretty good. We'll see. Not impossible, but we'll see. Ben Dover says, you were sounding like me. Let's get rest the rest of the weekend. Rest doesn't help me. I mean, I completely went to whisper mode when my voice started coming back. My daughter thinks it's funny because I pick her up from school and I whisper to her because I'm like, I just don't sound good. That's the thing. It's not about resting anything with me. And I've been researching, is there a way I can exercise my voice back into health? I don't think there is. I don't think vocal cords work that way. So yeah, I don't know. I will take suggestions though in the comments if you got them, but you can hear the voice gets a little better, but still not great. Obviously, you guys, I apologize to you guys. I hate it. Evansville Boiler says, still do not understand the defensive scheme of a weak double team every time other team catches near the post, just leads to open looks for the other team. Yeah, the scheme is not good right now. If we're just being real honest, that's what I'm saying. I think the coaches have work to do. And I don't think they'd be offended by that. I don't care if they would anyway. Those guys make good money. Go do the thing that you get paid for. You guys are all good at what you do. Go fix it. Chris R. says, much better defense tonight. Limit live ball turnovers. UCLA hit a lot of late contested shots. They're a good shooting team. But my goodness, did Purdue clamp down at the 7-minute mark in the second half? They sure did. They look great. Ben Carnahan said, how long has RFK been doing the recaps? I kid. Yeah, it's, I find him, regardless of the content, I can't listen to him very long. So that's, I feel sorry for you guys. I'm at 24 minutes right now, so hopefully I can wrap this up quickly so you don't have to suffer too much. Jack Leonard 22 says the voice must be killing your weekly karaoke nights. Yeah, I mean, it's a real robbery of the world when I can't sing. It's a blessing for everyone around me. So more than that, I'm putting off my studio time for my next album. So yeah, that's I'm like Alicia Keys, a decade ago, and her voice got a little wonky. It's like an angel when I sing. So yeah, good point. Gerald Huff says, rolling into the weekend with some Jim Beam Winter Reserve left over from Christmas. I think that's a spicy bourbon, if I remember correctly. I believe that is spicy. I'll tell you what, I'm still drinking this chocolate malt, barrel strength, hard truth, sour mash rye. It's a hell of a title. It's really good though. And I really enjoyed it after the last game, even though I was sad. And it's really very, very good when you're happy. Let's see. Evansville Boiler says 100% agree. Love the pace of the three guards, TKR and Heidi. Yeah, it was fun to see them turn it up. And then as soon as it felt like they were in rhythm, it got pulled. So that sucked. Frail Hammer says, seems like he could nail some chop suey karaoke. Oh yeah. I'm telling you, there's so many options you have when your voice is this garbage. It's, Derek Mulligan says, thanks for all you do, man. Love your input. It means a lot to us diehard fans. Yeah, I really do appreciate those kind words, and I can't do anything but apologize to you. I do not feel bad, not feel badly. I just sound horrible. And let's see, maybe if I just take more volume off of it tonight, that's the magic thing. If I just, let's see, try this. I tried to go higher a couple days ago at home, and my daughter said it didn't sound like me, and my wife started making fun of me. So we'll find it. Sports King says, great finish. John Hawks says, way to fight like hell. That's the key to the whole thing with this team. It's the key. This team is not as talented as we wish they are. They are not complete from a roster standpoint. So they have to fight, and they have to stay connected on defense. But they've got to fight more for boards. And Cam Heidi did his thing tonight. People have to join him in that. And that's a decision. The way you go after rebounds, 50-50 balls, that's a decision. And Purdue's got to really, really adopt that idea that they have to play with a chip on their shoulder. I do see something, and maybe you guys see it as well, with TKR. I see some body language stuff happening where he looks perpetually pissed off, not at his teammates, but at the way the game's called. And he saw it about midway through the second half, saw it in the first half tonight. He gets so angry. And I kind of wish he just resigned himself to the fact that, yeah, you're going to get the shit beaten out of you. That's the way this conference and this game, college basketball, calls it. But he's got to watch those elbows, because it just seems to me like he's playing with fire. It's a tough situation. It's always better to be bigger and more dominant. But when you're 6'10", and you're on an even playing field, he's pretty good on that even playing field. He can beat almost anybody in the league one-on-one. He's really good at it, but he doesn't draw the double team, and then doesn't draw people away, changes the whole dynamic. So, yeah. Jeffy says, very good first half from Colvin. Feels like we need his size over the other guards. Yeah, it's a big difference. Why did he not get much playing time in the second half? I don't know the answer to that, but I would guess it was because Heidi was rebounding so well. I think it could be that simple, that Heidi was pretty magical on the glass, and Paint didn't mess with that, which was really, really good to see. Franchise says, it was good to see the team rediscover their mental focus. Agreed. Really dialed in on the defensive assignments and not overplaying early. Yeah, like I said, I think the team was doing is exactly how they were coached, with that weird matchup issue on the switches. And I'm told that Gus Johnson brought that up, that they can switch out. And there was time to switch back if they would communicate. They got to do a better job communicating. You should not keep Smith on a 6'9", 6'10" guy. Should not. And they exploited it a couple times. I think a couple possessions, UCLA flat out missed it though. So Andy in Colorado says, it was crazy to see Braden Smith standing behind that 3-point line all by himself. Yeah, that was, boy, they gave him all day on his second to last three that he hit, all day. And then the final three he made, somebody was right up in his grill, right up in his business, and he really enjoyed that one. I think he felt good. It's good to see, and it's good to see him fully healthy too. Winter's been rough on a lot of people. Not me though. I've stayed healthy as a horse. Greg Stuckey says, good to see Mount and Mackey. Yep, Mount was there for the first time since 2016. In case some of you didn't know that. Last game he came to was versus Iowa. Iowa came back and won that game. Mount looks great. He's 78, 77 Let's see. I can figure this out. Hold on a second. It's 78. I think he's 78, or he's almost 78. He does. He looks great. He looks great. It's good to see. Glad he's in the arena. He doesn't live far away. I wish he came to more games. Plain and simple. Let's see. Tarek Camel says, Boilers are almost back, just like Dowd's vocals. Yeah, almost. They played a lot better than I sound. So, like somebody said, if we can just continue a parallel rise, that would be excellent. Tarek Camel says, bourbon or scotch? I'm partial to scotch. I'm not a scotch guy. This bourbon it's a rye. It's a rye. It's not a bourbon. I guess they're this. No, rye has higher rye content. But yeah, I'm a rye fan. I really, really like barrel finished ryes, where you have something that's like a wine finished rye, where you get that balanced flavor. Really, really good stuff. So scotch, the peatiness generally, just even good stuff, well-aged stuff, expensive stuff, it's just not my bag. So my brother loves scotch. So who makes what I'm drinking Hard Truth? My wife and I took the to celebrate the Wisconsin loss. We were down at Hard Truth on a distillery tour, and my wife is not she doesn't drink the browns, and but she was a good sport, and good tour down there. Let's see. I'm gonna get down there. Nate Dolan says Smith with the Purdue assist record. Yeah, that was a big deal. That was in the first half. Smith is the all-time Purdue assist record holder. Really cements his place as the greatest point guard at all time at Purdue, and he's got another year left, and that's an incredible number. He's great, and it's awesome to see him getting back into rhythm too, though. But yeah, the numbers tell the story. He's truly great. So great to see. Chris R says, have you seen the stats on Twitter tracking this team versus the 2018-2019 team? It's eerie how similar those seasons have been. I have not, and I don't know, is it Cobra doing that? Cobra comes on here, but I'll check that out though. If you could tell me what feed is doing it, I'll retweet some stuff too. That sounds good. So into that season was pretty good, pretty fun, right? So yeah, it's interesting. Ben Kolzinski says, just glad to be off the slide. Getting the monkey off the back is just what this team needed. Yeah, I think many people, I don't care who it is, we sometimes minimize the humanness of big time college basketball players, especially those who have shown they can be great at times or be consistently great, like that team did last year when they got on a tear. A lot of those guys, that when you hit the skids and when you stop playing well, it's pretty easy to lose your ability to just come down and pull the trigger, right? Pretty easy to lose your confidence and say, I can make that play. And I think there's baby steps that have to happen. I think this was an important first baby step. I think this team can get back to playing really well. But I think they showed it times in the game today where you're like, they just don't look like a great team. They look like an okay team. But this is team effort stuff. Just as the losing streak was a team effort, where the team played badly, the coaches did a poor job. I think they're all going to have to get their heads right and fix this. And today was a big step forward and huge for the confidence. But I think they can do some damage though if they find rhythm. I mean, this team could be dangerous. The formula that Jay and I used to always talk about years ago in the NCAA tournament is point guard play, and then do you have a guard that can score a lot, who's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. You got double there. Okay, now do you have a coach that is decent in the tournament? Well, even when Painter was mediocre before the FDU and St. Pete stuff, but they were a Sweet 16 team similar, consistently. And then they got to the finals. So now you have to say, Coach, you can do this, right? So formula-wise, it's really good. And then you've got TKR, one of the most underrated big men in America. He's a tough guy to guard. That's one thing Purdue has on their side, is that he's tough to prepare for because his game is different. The way he gets the hoop is different when he has the ball at, 12, 13 feet, and he still finds a way to get to the hoop, absorb contact, and make the shot. So Purdue has some things that are interesting that are tough to prepare for. The big thing, though, if they run into one of those teams with the athletic guards, the big guards that are experienced, that 24-year-old guard, 23-year-old guard, and a coach that knows his way around, that's been a bad formula for Purdue all season. So, but yeah, like new Adam's here. Look at Adam. Says, finally, back to my truck. That was a fun game. Did you get to go to it? It sounds like you were there. That's awesome. But yeah, that's a fun game. Hope you're doing well, man. Yeah, he was there. Mackie was rocking tonight. That's awesome. It sounded great on TV. LBD did not get tickets to this one. It's weird to me still that you can't just buy a season ticket, but culture has changed since when I was there. I mean, that's the thing. It's wild when you think back to the 90s, to the late 90s, middle late 90s. Purdue was really good, and you got a season ticket if you ordered it. And he tells me it's really hard to get that now. So yeah, definitely different. Derek Mulligan says, any thoughts on Michigan crazy run of winning close games? They should win. Yeah, I talked about this a little bit earlier. My thoughts are, I don't think that's a team of destiny. I think they're a team that's just playing with fire. And I think that they rely heavily on Vlad Golden, and I don't believe in Vlad Golden. He disappears at times. He's not the toughest dude, and they really need him to be good all the time because so much of their offense goes through him. So I mean, good for them that they're playing well, but if you saw that Michigan State Maryland game, that feels like destiny stuff to me. And Jay talked about that. He said he called that a lucky win. I don't know if it's a lucky win. The reason I don't think that's a lucky win is because the game was tied when the shot was hit, and so at worst case they were going to go into overtime. Tough place to win. Maryland is really hard. Their student section is brutal, but that was a huge win, and that's a little different than the way Michigan has been playing down to the level of teams. It doesn't matter who they play; they barely squeak by. So yeah, it doesn't matter. They're better than Purdue right now as it sits. So yeah, I'm not a believer in that team. So just my 2 cents. I don't watch them all the time, but that's my 2 cents. And I think that's it. 37 minutes. That's plenty. And thank you for dealing with my voice, dealing with whatever this is. And thanks for sticking with our Boilers. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I said it before during the losing streak. I'll say it again. You're just like me. You're sick. Not because you got a bad voice. You're not going anywhere else, right? This is where you are, and keep believing and keep rooting for them. And I think it's okay to observe things and call them honestly. But keep coming back. If you got tickets, go to the damn game, right? Go see them beat Rutgers. So Jerry Huff says, start a winning streak. Always starts with just one win. Yeah, I think that's the thing. You can't think about anything big. Think about one game at a time. And that's one thing that's good about a losing streak like that. It like I said, the bad thing is it humbles you to the point where you have some doubt. The good thing is it humbles you to the point where you're like, you don't take anything for granted. And I don't think this team will. I sure as hell hope not. But that's about it. Have a great evening, guys. It's 11 o'clock. You can get to bed now comfortably. God bless you. Hammer down. Talk to you soon. See you after the Rutgers game. Maybe before. Who knows?